One of the biggest keys to any successful overseed or renovation is you always have to make sure that you have adequate water. If you don't have water, your seed's not going to germinate, and then you're not going to have any grass to be able to stripe, to be able to play in, anything. So what is the most important way to get water on the grass seed? Let me show you. So right here is about a 5,000 square foot area. We need to get water coverage over everything, and in order to do that, we're going to do two different types of equipment. We're going to string out hoses across here. We're going to use a Melnor Timer, and we're also going to use Melnor Impact sprinklers. Thank you, Melnor, for sending those things. This is sponsored by them, so thank you again. But the timers that we're going to use is 4-zone, and it also allows you to program up to 4 different times per each zone. We have our water source, it's going to be our hose, and then we have the timer. This timer takes 2 AA batteries to program it. It's all digital, so you press the on and off button. There's no batteries. So it runs off of 2 AA batteries, which, runs off of 2 AA batteries. Watch it. We'll put those in here. These just go right in the back like that. And then you're gonna get a digital display. You can program it. There's 4 different zones and there's different cycles for each zone. All you do is you hook up your water source to here, and then each one of these will hook up to a different hose, and then that can go to a different irrigation head. The irrigation head that we're going to use is the Melnor XT. It comes on an aluminum sled. It is an impact sprinkler. If you want to daisy chain them, you just simply unscrew this tab here, and you can connect your other hose. If this was the female, and you can connect your other hose and the other hose here. A lot of times people don't have enough water pressure to be able to do daisy chaining, so I just suggest you keep this cap on. If you start seeing any leaking, always check and make sure the rubber gasket's inside there. When you're ready to set this up, you have a couple different settings that you're going to want to run through. This triangle is what's going to move your little arrow to each different display. So by turning it on, we press a triangle, and it takes you to the start time. So you set the clock of what day and what time it is. So it's 3:50 p.m. It's Wednesday. Next we can hit a triangle and we can select the water day. The different water days are all highlighted. If you don't want it to be on Sunday because it's a Sabbath day, you can just unhighlight that and then go to the next day. For new seed, we want to make sure that we're watering every single day. We're doing light waterings, and we're making sure that the dirt is just staying moist, about the first 1 or 2 inches, just to stay moist. So then after we have our water day, we'll switch over to start watering. Our start watering will show us our cycles. So we pick which zone we're going to use. So zone 1, we'll click OK, and then it's showing 4 a.m. We don't really want to be watering at 4 a.m. We'll go a little bit later. This property is shaded pretty well, so we'll start it at 6 a.m. And then we'll hit cycle, which will take us to the next cycle, starting at 8 a.m. We can just go to 8:30, and then we can switch over to cycle C, and then do the same thing, switch over to cycle D, and then we can do the same thing on that as well. After we have our cycles, we'll switch over, and it'll be how long. How long is how many minutes you want to actually have water running on each zone. If you don't know how many minutes you want to be running on each zone, I suggest you do a test run. Hook up the sprinkler that you're going to use on that zone and let it run. Watch it until you have a good amount of water coming down, keeping the seed moist. So if it takes you 5 minutes to have about a ½ inch or an inch of water coming down, perfect. If it takes you about 20 minutes to get the whole area nice and moist, then you're going to run that zone for about 20 minutes. So it can fluctuate depending on how much water pressure you actually have. Say we want to run each zone for 5 minutes. We're going to make the adjustments then accordingly. We are all programmed. Next, we're going to go to auto. When you have it on auto, it's going to tell you that we're ready to go. Then if there's a rainstorm or something, you can just come over here and you can turn it off, and then you're going to hold your watering. Whenever you want this program to be running, you always want to make sure it's on auto. And then if you need to water manually, you can just click on, and it'll take you to your different zones. So you can select what zone you want to water manually. You'll select how many minutes you want to water. And then after that, you just click OK, and you'll hear a click. Now it's showing a little rain or a little spout dripping out some water, and it's having your countdown. Say all of a sudden I don't want to water anymore, you just come over, you click off, and it'll turn it off. When you get your timer, sometimes it gets shooken up by the factory in transit or however they stock the shelves. If you turn this on, water's coming out of one of these that you don't want it to, simply go in like you're going to do a manual watering. You're gonna select the zone that water's coming out of. You're gonna click, you can do 2 minutes of watering, click OK. And what that does is it's resetting it. It's opening up the valve, it's letting the water come out, and then you're manually closing the valve. After you do that, you shouldn't have any issues with it leaking. So I recently did a renovation on another property and I did a couple different tests. I had the Melnor impact sprinkler, I had an irrigation head, and then I had a different type of sprinkler. I had the best germination rate when I used one of these impact sprinklers compared to the other ones. So if you're doing a new renovation or a seeding, I highly suggest you use an impact sprinkler. It's putting down a lot more water at a given time, and the results speak for themselves. When the sprinkler comes, this little tab is going to be down all the time. If you don't want this to be a 360, you'll leave that little tab to be down, and that's going to hit this tab and this tab here. And when it goes around, it's going to hit that tab and it's going to tell the system to go back the other way. It's going to go around this way, and hear that click, it'll tell the system to go the other way. But if you just want to go on a full 360, you're going to flip this tab up, and then the head's going to be able to spin freely around, just like that. That's it, super simple. Melnor Timer and a Melnor impact sprinkler. You should have awesome coverage over your renovation or seeding, or even if you're just watering your grass. Check them out. I do have some links below if you want to use them, and I'll see you guys in the next one.